Yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Shaky. Welcome to my official Hashashin guide. For those of you that are wondering, because this video is coming out so early, I have practiced in global labs for a good 2 months since Hashashin came out. So I'm pretty well versed in pre-awakening, awakening, and succession. In this guide, we are going to be going over the awakening versus succession debacle. We're going to go over the gearing guide, skill add-ons, skill build, movements. We're going to talk about cancels. We'll talk about PVE rotations and the PVP combos. I am pretty much going to go over every single little thing that I can possibly think of for this class so that it serves as a basis for the Hashashin community. The reason I am doing this is because this class is pretty dope, and if you guys have any questions or want to add anything, feel free to comment down below. If you guys can, I do stream regularly on Twitch, so if you guys want to give me a follow, everything in the description. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. If you want to ask any questions, make sure to @ me, join the community Discord, and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and get into my official Hashashin guide. It's Awakening versus Succession. Personally, I feel like Awakening and Succession are both viable kits. I don't really think one is necessarily better than the other. I'm currently talking strictly PvP here. For me personally, Awakening has more utility, it has a grab, and it has much more mobility with bigger AoEs and good super armor trades. Now with Succession, you're getting a little bit more consistent mobility with a double teleport, but it still won't really outdo the mobility of Awakening. However, it's a little bit more consistent mobility and more trickery with the iframe movement. And the other big difference is that you are able to use your All's Breath, which puts you as a tornado when the tornadoes come out. And then the final thing would be that I think Succession has a little bit better burstier SA trades because everything is a lot quicker. At the end of the day, I fully believe that it's a playstyle difference. So for me, this guy is going to be all about the Awakening. That's what I prefer out of the two kits. However, both are viable. In terms of PvE, I do feel like both kits are pretty similar in terms of PvE. However, I will say at the lower tier grind spots, Awakening is definitely better. But it looks like to be at end game content, Succession and Awakening PvE are pretty comparable. This is actually a gearing guide I have provided in my community Discord for everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and explain everything. So I'm talking about strictly Awakening here, and Succession can pretty much more or less gear the same way. So for the gearing on Hashashin, what you have to understand is that class discords, they really love to misinform the community without actually proving and showing numbers and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and be providing that for you guys with actual numbers and spreadsheets that have been proven and tested for a very long time. So when it comes to gearing guide on the Hashashin, you have to understand that in its passive skill tree, he has access to an 11% accuracy in his passives. On top of that, he has access to 9% accuracy with the SLMB self buff. His Shift F is his main debuff. So the first CC, pretty much any single time you're going to CC on your Hashashin, it is going to be Shift F. It's a very useful skill. What that skill does is it gives you a flow that does -9% to all evasion, and it also gives -20 DP. Now the way -% to all evasion works is that it actually gives you a flat accuracy hit rate as it does to other people as well. And on top of that, you can slap a add-on to the skill that gives +5% accuracy. This is actually a typo, I'm going to fix that. So basically you're getting a total of 35% accuracy to your entire kit. So essentially, if you're playing Hashashin correctly, you're going to realize that this kit actually has a lot of accuracy, and that doesn't really actually take into consideration of your actual gear accuracy. So having 35% accuracy on top of being able to combine that with your actual gear accuracy, you're looking at about 70 to 80% hit rate on the average Siege player. So for the Hashashin in general, because he has evasion passes on his iframes and his DP self buffs and you know, so much accuracy, I really strongly recommend that when you start building into the game, now I'm talking about Tet armors. If you're Tet armors, definitely go DR with Begs and whatnot. After that, I would really strongly recommend that once you start building into full pen armors, I recommend that you go Liebers, Muskins, Heave, and Dimtree, mainly because of how Hashashin scales really well with evasion due to his evasion passes. Weapon wise, for PvP, I would strongly recommend you go Oafen, since he has so much accuracy and that you're going to be using a lot of your pre-awakening kit in PvP, I would say that you should probably go with the Ofen because you're going to get more damage out of it, and he's not accuracy starved at all, so going with the Ofen would be the better play. Eventually, when you hit your end game siege build, you're going to be looking at about 404 accuracy without buffs. So that combined with the 34% hit rate, you're pretty much going to be nuking everybody. So I would really recommend that you guys go with the Ofen on the Hashashin, especially with the fact that you're going to be using so much pre-awakening and awakening. Strongly recommend it. After that, I would just recommend that you guys have a evasion offhand and an accuracy offhand, a Kudum and a Nuver for a certain situation. That way, if you ever do come across an evasion memer, you do have the access to be able to use other offhands for certain situations. So, all in all, high AP, high evasion, that is going to be your gearing meta on the Hashashin for now. In terms of a skill build on the Hashashin, I would say that you need to get about 2300 SP, and I strongly recommend that you max out the entire kit as an Awakening Hashashin. You want every single absolute. I will tell you guys this right now. I would label Hashashin as a 10 out of 10 class in terms of difficulty. It is definitely one of the hardest classes in the game that you're going to have to master. He has a lot of tools, a lot of cancels, a lot of combos. You have to consistently swap between awakening and pre-awakening. I absolutely do not recommend this class for new players whatsoever. It is a very difficult class to master. You're going to need a lot of skill points. For this, I will not be giving you guys a skill build. I would really recommend that you guys spend the time and grind out the SP for Hashashin if you want to make full use of it. Otherwise, you're not going to really feel the class very much. So you're going to need about 2300. For SP, you can grind spots such as Marie Cave and Polly's. Those are pretty much the two best spots for SP in the game at the moment, and that's what I recommend for skill builds. As of me making this video, the Rabams are currently not available on the NA servers. So I did go on Global Labs and I was able to show you guys the Rabams that way. This is going to be your first Rabam. It is another block jump that goes into Descent. This block jump is insane damage, and it's a fourth block jump for the Hashashin. So that is going to be the add-on that you want. Now, as far as the other add-on, which is this one right here, Shift X, it does your Shift Q into Descent. That is a super armor SH rating down attack with a plus 20 DP self buff. So those are going to be your two best in slot Rabams that I would recommend. I would not recommend the others. So if you guys would like to see a combo with that Rabam as well, this is what it would look like. Of course, you did not live through that. For skill add-ons, I recommend on Quicksand you put 10% crit, 54 pain damage. On Chosen Blade, I recommend putting 5% accuracy and 20% critical hit rate. I would recommend on Descent that you have attack speed minus 7% for 7 seconds, inflict 48 poison damage for 3 seconds. I would recommend that you go with monster damage on Ensnaring Sand, critical hit rate plus 20%. On Dune Slash, I would put plus 7% attack speed, all accuracy plus 5%. That is an absolute must staple skill add-on. Dune Slash has to have those two add-ons. It's very critical to the kit. For Serpent's Coil, I would put PvP attack plus 15 and instantly recover 6 HP, which is just nice for PvE. Now the HP recovery and the monster damage can be replaced with PvP damage or dots. So those are pretty much going to be your add-on builds for the Hashashin. And as far as movement goes, I have compiled a movement guide from the Global Lab, so I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Feel free to save everything. I have my button UI up, and this is going to be how you're going to be working the Hashashin. Okay guys, now for your UI setup, what I'm going to recommend, you want All's Breath on your hotbar, you want Descent, you want Quicksand, and you want Sin Splitter. The reason for that is obviously Descent, you have to have it on your hotbar. It can be casted from Awakening. You can have Quicksand on your hotbar. From Awakening it'll also be casted. And then Sin Splitter is from pre-Awakening to get into Sin Splitter. So a really common method for that is, for example, you are going to do your WF, this, and then Sin Splitter, it should be on your hotbar. So that's going to be everything you want on your hotbar as of right now. Now what's going to be really important on Hashashin before you start getting into fights is going to be doing SLMB, iframe, RMB, which is your Piercing Fang, into Sandcutter. When you do all of that, this is what happens. Okay, that's going to be your movement cancel. Plus 20 AP, plus 10% attack speed, all evasion plus 6%, all accuracy 9%. As long as you keep all these buffs up 24/7 while moving around in both PvP, in 1v1 scenarios and large scale scenarios, you are setting yourself up for huge damage at all times with very quick attack speed. Just keeping this self buff up 24/7 will make you better than the average Hashashin player out on the field. Now, obviously you guys should understand that your main way to get from Awakening to pre-Awakening is going to be doing either your forward F into the Sandcutter, or you can also just do R&B Sandcutter as well. You can do your Quicksand, you can do All's Breath to get you into pre-Awakening, and of course just doing any one of your block jumps will also put you in pre-Awakening. Okay, so just understand that is going to be very important on this class. Now, we're going to talk about some of the cancels that we discussed earlier. Now, if you watched the movement section of this video already, you pretty much know over half of the cancels by now. I'm going to talk about the reasonings behind them really quick and why you're going to be doing it a certain way. Now, at the base for movement, you're going to have to do this. So this, C-swap, block. This is how you're going to move around, right? This is how you're going to have to be protected and move around. So, obviously not very stamina hungry, and you can pretty much gain your stamina back just doing this, so it's really good for sustain. Now, the next thing we're going to be talking about is some of these cancels that are going to be really crucial and how to engage and like move around, right? Now, since Hashashin doesn't have very much protected CC, it is really important that you get used to doing Sandcutter RMB every single time and making sure you have that RMB cooldown up. This is pretty much your stun that's very fast. So an example of this is you can block jump onto somebody with Hourglass, and then you can do your WF movement, or you can iframe and then do Sandcutter and RMB, and it's really fast. It looks like this. So that's going to require a lot of mouse control and camera movement. So it's going to be really important that you understand that this is going to be one of your staple engages to catch people with a stun. Other than that, you're going to have to understand that you're going to be relying on your grab a lot as an Hashashin player. Now, his grab at base is really slow. So if you kind of look right now, it kind of comes out pretty slow, right? Now, as long as his Awakening weapon is in the Hashashin's left hand, he'll actually cancel into his grab much quicker. So the easiest way to do that is to iframe to the left and then do grab, and it's pretty much instant. See how fast that was? That's going to be your instant way of grabbing people, so that's going to be really important. Other than that, you guys have to understand how to use Flow Condemnation. Now, Flow Condemnation is going to be one of your biggest ways to do AoE damage, especially in large scale. It's able to come out after Ensnaring Sands, Serpent's Coil, and Dune Slash, and then obviously below Voracity. So, what it is the big ability where you're jumping in the air. So this is it after Shift LMB. This big jump is the super armor, and it's going to be one of your main ways to get some damage off. Now, a really good way to get this off in large scale and being able to get really good CCs on people while being pretty safe because it's pretty fast. What you're going to do is you're going to do an iframe, and then you're going to go straight into Shift F because Shift F will put them on the floor, and then you're just going to do hold LMB to do the flow for Condemnation, and it's going to look like this. This way you're gonna be able to get really good results with that and get a lot of massive AoE KDs, and that's going to be really nice. Now, with that being in mind for KD, if you're ever lingering super armor and you're about to kill someone, you can also do that after what I like to call the helicopter. So when you're doing this, when you smash it on the floor and hold LMB, he will also do it, and this is like really big damage. So that's like one of the major keys on this class. Other than that, it's just you guys have to have a really good understanding of how to C-swap as well for SA rotations. So you can icon to the left and then just instantly do your Ridge Reaver, for example. Or for movement, you can iframe to the left and then do your, for example, when you become the Tasmanian Devil, and then Shift F for the cancel and then forward F. Like, you're going to have to understand how to do a lot of the stuff. So if you guys watch the movement part of the guide, that's pretty much it. Outside of that movement guide, that's pretty much what's important. Other than that, understanding how to use collapse, which is your back R&B. Collapse of the float. Right? And there's a few nice ways to cancel that ability. So you can cancel it after holding your Q. Comes out really quick. You can also do it after your helicopter ability. So, like this, SLMB, and it goes straight into the float. It's really nice. So you can actually gimmick a lot of people with this. So what you can actually do, you can bait people by holding your helicopter. You can do SLMB and hold A and S for the iframe, and it's going to actually teleport you. So it's almost like having an iframe floats. Watch this. You guys saw how the snake came out? That'll float somebody. So it's almost like having an iframe float. So if you want to get back in really quickly, what you can do after that is just go straight into Sin Splitter, or you can go into LMB. So example is what you can start doing to people. So just understand those cancels are pretty key. And finally, just understand that a lot of your cancels from your iframe will cancel a lot of your big hitting AoE. So you have a lot of versatility on the Hashashin. So for example, if I want to do this and get out, if I'm about to get grabbed, you just iframe out. If I want to do this and I'm about to get grabbed, just iframe out. I'm gonna do this, you're gonna have to linger that. But you know, if you're in your quicksand, iframe out. If you're doing Shift Q and you're about to get hit because it's unsafe, iframe out. You guys see what I'm saying? There's a lot of cancels with this class, so it's just really hard, unfortunately, to play this class. And let's go ahead and start getting into the PVE rotation. The PVE rotation in Hashashin is really simple. So for the low end tier grind spots, it's just going to be lingering a lot of awakening and knowing how to do the movement. So the movement, you guys know from watching the movement guide now, right? You guys are professionals by now. Y'all know the movement. Y'all don't need me to help you anymore. But here's how you guys are going to be doing the PVE combos and rotations, okay? It's pretty much everything in awakening. So go up to a pack. So if you're like at Fogan, just some rat spot like Blood Wolves, go up to a pack, Shift F, flow, SLMB, SLMB, go up, Shift RMB the next pack, go in, hold the Q, kill the entire pack, go in, do this, descent, kill the entire pack, huge pack, you're gonna do your quicksand, rinse, repeat, walk up, SLMB, walk up, boom, walk up, boom. You're just rotating all your cooldowns, that's pretty much it. It's really easy. Walk up. That's pretty much all you're doing, guys, for PvE. Alright, now for your tankier mobs, when it comes to grinding places like Histria or Akhman or Star's End or Sakraya, first thing is first. All's Breath. Or not, yeah, All's Breath, okay? This will count as a summon, so it'll help you pull extra mobs. So pulling in the higher tier spots is going to be very important. Maybe not so much at Akhman because it's super easy. But that's pretty much it. Now, your Q is going to be your HP sustain. When you get hit, you start gaining HP, so understand that. Now, your main bread and butter, when you're going to be debuffing the mob packs, once all the mobs bunch up on you, you're going to do Shift F, RMB, SLMB, and that's going to give you your plus 20 AP and accuracy rate plus 9%, right? And then that's going to debuff the mobs by minus 20 DP. And it's going to debuff them by minus 9% all evasion. Once that's done, all you're going to do is just do Shift L and B. Like this. And then do this. And then you're pretty much going to melt the entire pack. If the mobs are not dead for whatever reason, just do Descent, Bridge Reaver, Spacebar, and they should be dead. And then you can go into your Shift Q as well. So pretty much just Z buff, E buff, and then you're going to be doing Shift F. This is your end game spot PVE combo in Awaken. It's really easy. That's all you have to do. Awakening PVE and endgame spots on Hashashin is a very chill grind.